Peace out. Let's dive straight into it. Today, I want to talk about tax auctions, tax sale auctions, online tax sale auctions. How do you play this game? Where to begin at if you're a new person? The importance of having this knowledge about this space in the tax sale world, because the tax sale world, that's where the Acre Boys got their start at. And this can be very, very lucrative for beginners or people that have experience. Find some really, really great deals there. These deals are going down all throughout the year, year in, year out. Every year, people fail to pay their taxes, and every year there's someone that's waiting in the wings to benefit off of people that don't pay their taxes. That's just how the name of the game goes. We put a post up on social media, I believe 2 days ago, Sunday, in fact, we put a post up on social media, and it was about two brothers that lost their land to back taxes to a tax sale auction. They lost 34 acres in South Carolina for $11,000. And, you know, I occasionally I scroll through the comments just to see what people's thoughts are on some of the stuff that we're posting. And many of you said things like, they've been stealing our land forever, or it's been a plot and things like that. And systematically, they're waiting to steal the land and all of those type of things. I say, I don't know if it's a plot or not, but I'll explain the story. What happened was it was heir property, right? And the aunt was at the forefront of the heir property, meaning that she was the point person, meaning that that's who all the information, it came to her first. She's responsible for paying the taxes on the property, 34 acres, right? Don't know what happened. I don't know what address they had that was registered with the county. There's always a address that has to be registered, but the county apparently was sending off documentations to the address that was registered. Apparently, they wasn't getting the mail or the notifications, right? County sends out several notices. Like when you lose your property to back taxes, this is not a 1, 2, 3 thing. This is not they send you a notice, then next month they're closing on the property. That's not how it works. This happens over some, depending on which state, right? Which state and which county, but most counties, this is going to be at least on the fastest end 6 months, right? But more than likely, it's going to take at least a year and sometimes longer. So this doesn't just happen. It just like, they don't just send you a notice to pay your taxes and you don't pay, then, 2 months later, they're taking your property. Doesn't happen like that. Now, I think it's a horrible story that they lost 34 acres to a tax sale because the taxes on property is cheap, right? So they said that county sent over notifications. They never received it. It was a wrong address and things like that. They filed a lawsuit against the county. Me, for one, I hope they win. I hope they get it. I hope it gets reversed. We've seen these things be reversed before. You have to fight, right? You have to hire an attorney. You have to fight to get them to be reversed. If sometimes you win, sometimes you lose, but it's definitely worth the fight when it's heir property and it's 34 acres that's worth a lot of money that you lost for $11,000. So I don't know who was right in the situation. On the post, that's why we put who's at fault here. Because when you own any property, heir property, auntie property, whoever, when you own any property, for everybody that's on this line, when you own, I think you all have an understanding about houses. You're responsible for the taxes. Ain't no way around it. That's just, if you live in America, maybe in another country. If you live in America, we pay taxes here. It's the same thing for land. So if you own land in America, once a year, you are responsible for paying the taxes, regardless of the price of the taxes, whether they're inexpensive or expensive. You have to pay your taxes. When you don't pay your taxes, you're running the risk of losing your property to forfeited taxes. This is like 101. So this group of these two brothers said that they never got notifications, or any of the heirs never got notification that property taxes was owed, and that they were being putting liens on the property, and they were being foreclosed on. They never got notification. That's a pity, right? That is a pity. However, it is your job to be responsible to know that once a year, even if auntie has to pay him, and if it's heir property or family property, maybe someone should check with the head person that's been in charge of paying the taxes and say, did the taxes get paid this year? That's all I'm saying. I don't know who's right. I don't know who's wrong. But it's hard for me to take side of they're looking to steal our property when the taxes are not paid. That's all I'm saying. Right? I hope that makes sense. And to me, it's really kind of easy. Like, no taxes paid, they're coming for it. That's just it. They're vultures. I know guys in this business, all they do is go down to the tax auction. To the tax building at their county and check who's behind on taxes, especially when they're playing the tax lien game. We play the tax deed game. A lot of investors play the tax lien game. What does that mean? That means that all they do, that's their job. This is what they do for a living. They're vultures that go down to the county buildings and they pull tax records to see who's behind. And from a tax lien standpoint, if you're behind on your taxes, they'll put money down on your property and take first lien position. That's why it's vital to be on time with your taxes. And they're just waiting for you not to pay. And once they take first lien position on your property, right? Now, when you owe back, they get a percentage of it. And when you don't pay, or if you don't pay, they don't care if you do. Most of them, they really don't care if you pay or you don't pay, because they're getting paid regardless, whatever that percentage is. But if you don't pay, then they get your property for pennies on the dollars. And that's for houses and that's for land. It works the same way. All right? So I want us to have an understanding, because I've dealt with people that look like me when I was out on the market doing what we do, looking to buy land. And I remember a story where we had a young lady. She had 5 acres that we offer her $20,000 for 5 acres. We offer her, it was worth about $45,000. We offered her 20 for it. She accepted the 20,000. She wanted to do the deal with us. We took the deal, got the paperwork, we sent it to title to run title on it. Come back that when title started to pull preliminary information on the property, that the property wasn't even under her name anymore. She didn't know she had lost it to taxes. She lost a $40,000 property to taxes for $600. And I'm like, I was giving you 20. We were offering her 20,000, and she didn't pay the taxes and lost it for $600. I contacted the guy who got it for $600. He's in the business. He knows about land. I offered him the same 20 to buy it. He said, no, it's on sale for 40. And that's how the game goes. And that's why they play the game. Now, what the Acre Boys teach is something slightly different because we target tax deeds as opposed to tax liens. When we're dealing with tax deeds, right? Most of the time, these properties are already 97% of the time they're foreclosed on and the county own them. So we don't have to worry about nobody trying to come back and redeem them and things like that, because there's a few different type of auctions. You have tax liens, you have tax deeds, what we're speaking upon now. Then you have states that we call redemption deeds, meaning that they start off as a lien, then as the redemption period expires, it turns into a deed, and then it's, well, they're both valuable, but a deed, once you have it, it'll come in the mail. You can do whatever you like to do with a deed. So that's the educational part, with people being, that's the educational part that people need to know to stay on top of your taxes. Like, we sold a property. I got to tell a story. I sold a property, and now I don't even sell. I've sold everything from cheap properties to expensive properties, hundreds of thousands to I sold them for $1,000. I did a little bit of everything throughout the years. So I sold a property about 3 years ago. We came back to doing really inexpensive properties. I have to tell a story. We came back and we did really inexpensive properties to where I was selling them for $2,000, $1,500. We had started to, like, now our name was kind of, people knew who we were. They knew who the Acre Boys were. We were a trusted source, right? They trusted us. And I love that, because we handle people right. We're not looking to beat anybody. So I respect that. I love that. However, a woman, like, when I'm selling properties, by the way, I don't know who's on the other end, especially when I'm selling inexpensive properties, because inexpensive properties, we put those on our website. People go and they check out. They usually buy with their credit cards. I can't see who's on the other end. I don't know if it's a male. I don't know if it's a female. I don't know if it's a grandmother. I don't know if it's a teenager. I have no clue, right? It's up to you. First of all, it's called caveat emptor. When you're buying from an auction, that's what you'll see at all auctions. You'll see a term that's called caveat emptor. What does that mean? That means buy at your own risk, buyer beware. And we take the same stance, even from selling from my own auction, my own website. Buy at your own risk. I give all the information that I have on the property, but you're buying at your own risk. It's up for you as a buyer. It's up to you. The same way when I buy it from someone, it's up to me to do my due diligence to the fullest before I spend any money. It's not up for the seller to disclose, anything. Like, they don't have to disclose anything to you. You're buying. It's your job to know what you're buying. Now, if they disclose some things to you and it's fraudulent information, that's different. That's a whole nother story. If I'm putting things out about a property that's untrue, not cool, right? So, but on our end, we give all the information that we can provide on the property, address, parcel number, square footage of the lot, the taxes that you're responsible for on the property, all of the stuff that will go into a write-up, right? Your job is to check the write-up and know how to check the property to know what you're buying. Everybody might not be forthcoming with information. Everybody might not be an upright citizen. Some people might be on the market trying to pass off a bad property. I've seen that happen as well. So you have to know what you're buying. Even when you're buying retail properties, you got to know what you're buying. You have to know how to do your homework on properties, right? So later on, I found out that we sold a property for $2,000. Now, watch this. I sold it, and I don't remember the exact year. I just know it was some years ago. So I'll use the year 2022. We sold a property for $2,000 in 2022 to someone. Apparently, later on, I found out who they were, name and, ethnicity and all of that. They looked like me. I sold it to them for $2,000 in 2022. Right? They contacted me back in 2025 and highly upset. I got the son. He emailed me. Any number he could find on me. He called me and he said, I need to speak to you. We give the son a phone call back. I bought a property from you. We have issues from it. You beat me, right? That's what he said. Matter of fact, he used the term. It's one term that if you want to get a rise out of me, one term, if you call me a scammer, I always defend myself. Because we've done really, really hard at protecting our image and likeness. And when you call me a scammer, that gets underneath my skin, because we have treated people right. We've given people money back, and we try hard to do the right thing. So he texted and said, you scammed my mother out of her land. So immediately I said, we didn't scam anybody. I don't care who's on the other end of the phone, because I know I didn't scam anybody. So what happened was, I called the brother back and he tells me, y'all sold a piece of property to my mother. My mother got 5 kids. She never bought land before. You sold a piece of property to her and she was all excited. She trusted you. She trusted the Acre Boys. And then he said that she lost the property 2 years later. Now she had it for 2 years. She lost the property. She don't own it no more. They took it back. Oh, how did they take it back? Oh, she didn't know she had to pay taxes. And I politely said to the brother, one or two things. You could try to reverse that. I'm trying to educate him, but he was such in a fury that they lost the property because they didn't know they had to pay taxes. You had it for 2 years. They didn't know they had to pay taxes. And he's telling me, you beat her. You knew that my mother didn't know about land investing. She only bought it because this is what she could afford. And she trusted y'all. And I'm saying to him, brother, I don't know what level of education that our buyer has when buying from us. Every listing that we has, it says on the bottom, please do your due diligence before purchasing. I don't know who's who. And I would think that it's common sense that when you buy, this is real estate, people. Even though it was 2000, it's still a piece of real estate. You are responsible for paying taxes. You knew you bought a piece of real estate. You have to pay the taxes. The taxes on the property was like $48 a year. And she lost it back to the county because 2 years had expired. And I guess in her case, she said that she never received the notification from the county to pay the taxes. I don't know if that's true or false. I'm going to give her the benefit of the doubt and say maybe she didn't. But however, you do know that you didn't pay. You didn't pay in 2 years. And that's a red flag. They're going to come and repossess the property when you don't pay. It happened. How do I know that for 1,000% sure? Because people ask us all the time, do you pay taxes on property? I don't pay taxes when I'm land investing, when I'm flipping property, and I probably shouldn't be telling you this, but this is just something how me and Jay move. We don't pay taxes from properties we get from the auction. Why don't we pay taxes? Because we don't intend on holding them longer than a year. If I can't sell it within a year, it's not the right property. I don't want it. So all I simply do is if I had let's just say if I did 500 properties from the auction, right? And 475 of them sold. And another 25 of them maybe didn't sell for whatever reason. I'm not paying the taxes on them. I let them come back and take the properties back. I don't pay taxes on properties that we do when we do tax deed investing. I don't pay taxes. I've never paid taxes because my intentions is to sell them fast enough before the taxes are owed or due. And that's how we see it beforehand. That's why it's important to know the game and know what you're buying. If I can't sell it, if there's a shadow of a doubt that I may sit on this longer than a year to where the tax period rolls back around, I don't buy it. I only buy things that I feel that I can move, because I know that there's a potential. Some may take a year before they foreclose. Some may take 2 years. You just have to know the area that you're playing in, right? I hope all of this is making sense. Y'all drops. And by the way, we're going to do an extensive class on this on Thursday. Comment the word 100K. If you're on YouTube, comment the word 100K. If you're on Instagram, comment the word 100K. No, YouTube cannot comment 100K. YouTube, I'm going to send YouTube a link to register for the class. If you're on Instagram, comment 100K. If you're on Facebook, comment 100K to come to the class on Thursday. But this is who you're getting. We got a ton of knowledge about this space because we do it. And I always tell people when it comes to the Acre Boys, we're not preaching from theory. We're not giving people something that I just did or pulled from ChatGPT. I'm telling you my personal experiences. That's how I speak it so fluently, because I know it. I lived it. And living it, ing, I'm living it. So if you want to learn from somebody that has done the thing that you're looking to do. What you're getting from me, you're getting transparency, full transparency. I just give it to you how it is. I don't sugarcoat it. I give it to you how it is. Give me 2 minutes. I'm on a live. Hit you right back. Okay. I give it to you straight how it is. All right. So where do you find these auctions at? So every state does something. And I'm going to just give you what you can do right now. You can just start to play around with stuff, right? Just go on Google. First of all, go to Google, go to ChatGPT and ask the question, my state, is it a tax deed state or a tax lien state? That's the first thing that you need to identify. Is it a tax lien state or is it a tax deed state where you reside at? That's the first thing you need to identify. Now, I'm talking to a broad audience. I don't know what your goals is or what you're attempting to do, right? So I'm just giving you overall scope of how this works. Now, if you're in a tax lien state, we don't teach tax liens. We know about tax liens. We know the game. We know how to participate. It's just not something that we teach. The reason that we don't teach it, because most of our audience, right, we cater to new investors. If you're experienced, you're probably doing these things already or have some inclination of how this works. So being that our message is being targeted to new investors or investors that have limited knowledge of the space, we decided to focus on tax deeds. I'm going to speak slow so you understand, because in the tax lien game, it's a long-term play, and more money that you have to participate, the more money you can make. Why do you say that, Ray? Because if you only have a limited amount of money and you're playing the tax lien game, you can get tax liens depending on what county that you're participating in. You can get them for $500. You can get them for $1,000. You can get them for $1,500, and so on and so forth, right? But if that state is paying, let's say 13%, because that's on average, 13% on whatever you pay for on the lien, it's not going to move the needle that much. Do some math. So if you put $1,000 down and they're paying you 13% on your $1,000, it's not a lot of cash, right? And that payout is going to be whatever that cycle is that they pay. Some pay every 6 months, some pay every year, whatever that is, depending on the state or in the county. So we call it the big boy game because big boys do really well. When I say big boys, those that have deeper pockets, bigger bank accounts, they do really well with tax liens. They call it mailbox money, meaning that every 6 months or every 12 months, those checks are continuously rolling in because they have invested in a lot of liens. Now, if you bought a house or a piece of land in a nice area and caught it at a tax lien auction, and you had cash to put $100,000, $200,000 down on a property that you saw at an auction, Now, if they're paying you 13% on your $200,000 or 13 or 15% on your $100,000, that's moving the needle a lot faster because your money does not move that fast inside of traditional banking. I hope that makes sense. That's why we say those that's well-to-do, that game serves them really well. They don't have to do nothing but know how to evaluate on the front end of what they're investing in, and it has a 99 percentile redemption rate. Let me say that slow. Tax liens has a 99 percentile redemption rate, meaning that 99% of the time in the tax lien space, people come back and redeem their properties. So it's a win-win for those that participate in it. Make sense? And if you don't come back for your property, whether that's a piece of vacant land or a home, then the person receives the property. So many times at tax liens auction, they're targeting houses, right? Because if you can get a tax lien on a house for $200,000, the area is going for $400,000. And if they don't come back for the houses, we all know that houses sell, especially in decent areas. We all know that they're going to sell. So 99% of the time they come back for it. So that's an explanation of why entry-level people, we don't suggest that for entry-level people that may be on a limited budget, because the money is not the same if you're on a limited budget. 13% on $1,000 is not really moving the needle. All right. So we've identified from a tax deed perspective that if you put $1,000 on a deed, and we identified the locations that you can buy land for $1,000, for $1,500, that you can turn around and sell once you have the deed, that you can sell for double, triple, quadruple, sometimes 5x and sometimes 6x in your money. That is the fastest way that new investors can turn over a profit and get money back into their bank account. That is why we focus on tax deeds. That makes sense? Drop a 1 in the chat if that makes sense, because I want to make sure I'm explaining this thoroughly to you. Drop a 1 in the chat if you're following what I'm saying. As some say, if you're picking up what I'm putting down. That was like a Carlton from. And while you're dropping the 1, comment the word 100K if you haven't to attend our class on Thursday. Now, tax deeds, entry level, right? Entry level investing. You still have to, whether you're doing tax liens, whether you're doing tax deeds, you still have to know. Derek Forrest, my guy, I see you. I'm in town too, brother. Tax deeds, you still have to know how to evaluate property, right? Tax liens, you have to know how to evaluate properties. You don't do tax lien investing and don't know what you're looking at. Most of these, now, 2 ways, right? 2 ways you could view this. If you find an auction in your area where you live at, clearly it probably would serve you better to go in person if you live there. Or you could take the Acre Boys approach and we invest virtually. There's 2 phases of most auctions. You have to just know the rules of where you're playing. Some counties, all right, let me just break the whole thing down. In the beginning, years ago, before online was a thing, every auction was in person. That's just how the game was played. Before technology, before social media, if there was an auction, it was in person. That's just how it was, right? This is old school. We kind of started on the tail end of old school. So I know about old school tax deed investing. So you would get a list from the county, and that list, 1 or 2 ways, I'm giving y'all the whole gamut of it. That 1 or 2 ways that either they'll mail you a list, a printout list, or you would have to go into the county and get a list of the properties that was coming up in the auction. Now, why I don't like that anymore, and I'm glad that things have progressed, is because when you're dealing with tax sale auctions, a lot of times once the lists come out, they have to give ample time for the attendees and the participants to do their homework on the property. So sometimes a list will come out 4 months before the auction. Just depends on the area. Sometimes 3 months. Sometimes they only give you 30 days. It just depends on where you're playing at. So when the lists come out, you have to start to do your homework on the list. But once the auction starts, those people could have came back for their properties. So now you've done homework on something that may not be there. That makes sense? So what we've done is we've said, let the initial auction go by. Most of auctions that we participate in these days is sitting on something that's called the OTC list. What's the OTC list? That's called the over-the-counter list, meaning that it has went through an auction, in-person auction. It didn't sell at the in-person auction. Now it's on the over-the-counter list. They have to move properties. Counties have to move properties. They don't want properties just sitting in their inventory. They're not making any money on them. Nobody's paying taxes on them. So they'll continuously try to sell them. And once they get to second and third phases of those properties not being sold, price usually decreases because they have to get them off the books. It's not doing the county any justice by sitting on properties. So we've learned to target the over-the-counter list, meaning that I can sit right here in front of the computer and look at it and learn how to evaluate it virtually and make decisions. That's why we say nowadays with technology, they have all the tools that you can see properties. I can see properties like I live there. Google Earth, Google Pro, all kind of things that they give us to evaluate. Other places that have images of area, and we can make decisions based straight off of that. And if we need to actually physically see something, we still don't go. We contact somebody in the area to be our eyes and ears. Right? So now with all the technology, you can sit home and make money. So how do you know what's happening in your area and what to do? Well, first, identify what your state is, tax lien, tax deed. Once you identify that, then just type in your county. And then once you get there, these days, most of them are online. They have some type of online website. Once you get to the website, just simply type in tax sale and see what comes up. Most of the time, something comes up on the tax sale. Sometimes they don't. Sometimes certain counties, they hide stuff for whatever reasons. Sometimes they have it under different names. Sometimes it's called over-the-counter list. Sometimes it's called struck-off list. You just have to know the different terminologies that they'll have it under. Sometimes it's under no terminology. Sometimes it's just under the treasurer's office. Right? And you have to, we know because we've done it. You have to know how to seek it out and find it. And once you seek it out and find it, then they usually have instructions on how to participate, or you can call up there and ask questions. Certain counties are really helpful and forthcoming with the information. Certain counties are not. Now, what we've done inside of our community is we've gathered up all of these lists of the best places for new investors to participate in. I'm talking about your Arkansas, I'm talking about your Michigans, I'm talking about your Mississippis. We've gathered up all of these areas, your Pennsylvanians. We gathered all of these areas. These is all the places through the years that me and my partner have participated in, and we've had some form of success at these places. So we give you these things. So now you don't have to try to get a brain as a new investor. What I gave you through this conversation was I gave you if you were coming into this as a daisy fresh rookie and knew nothing. That is the approach that you should take. But if you were smart, this is why I'm telling you to comment 100K. If you were smart, if you wanted to save yourself some time, because I know you're going to spend a lot of time going down that rabbit hole. How do I know it? Because I've been down that rabbit hole. of searching for places. So if you were smart, you would comment 100K, and then you would shorten that length of time and just come to where it's figured out for you, if that makes sense. To me, when I had the opportunity to participate with a group of mentors that was able to shorten my learning curve, it made all the sense in the world to me. Well, why would I continue to try to bump my head on something that I don't know when I can just go to where they already figured it out for me? Clearly, through this conversation, you can hear from the dialogue that I know what I'm talking about. No, I'm not reading from a phone. This is all like the music group, like the rap group, the LOX, LOX. This is living off experience. I'm just telling you what I've done. I'm telling you what I've researched. I'm telling you what we have teach and have seen other people have success at. That's it. So by the time you're finished with us and our training and everything that we teach, you'll be able to go on and do this on your own, whether you stick with us or whether you don't stick with us. And that's invaluable. The same mentors that taught us the game, I'm not in their mentorship anymore. That taught me how to tax deed invest. They taught me one time. I stayed with them, I don't know, 2 years. And then I moved on and I got really good at it myself. But you have to get started. You have to get the game to begin to move on. We had a conversation today when we went to go see a friend of ours. And most people think they're wowed by what the Acre Boys do. Wow, Acre Boys, I got this land thing moving. Yeah, we do got it moving. But do you know how we got it moving? Not because we are good land investors, but that's not the tell-all. We got it moving because we are probably some of the most consistent brothers that you'll find. Meaning that every day, every single day, 365 days, 7 days a week, we're on social media with a post about something about land. Now, do you have the bandwidth to put out like that, to be successful? Most people won't do anything for a substantial amount of time. Most of us, we pick it up and put it down. Most of us, we start, we stop. So as soon as we get momentum going up the hill, we stop, we go right back down the hill. Then we're right back at square one. You know how many people we encounter on a daily basis that say they're ready to land invest? And then most of them find out that it may take an ounce of work, and then they retract that statement. And that's kind of like our culture. If you tap into something that has proven to work, this is not my opinion, this is fact. This space has proven to work. Before the Acre Boys existed, this has been working. So if you tap into something that has stood the test of time, why wouldn't it work for you? The vehicle works. It's the driver who's driving the car that can't drive. You may need driving lessons in the form of mentorship. You need a driving instructor because the vehicle works. There's nothing wrong with the vehicle. So why is it not working for you? Some of us don't even look at the vehicle. That's just the truth of the matter. So our mission, as far as our inner circle, is we just been trying to sort out the ones that's those ones. The ones that understand, right? That gets what it takes. And what it takes is, yes, one, it's going to take finances. You can't get involved in any investment group without finances, right? I'm just giving it to you like it is. I'm just giving it to you like everything that we've been through. I didn't get a free mentorship. We didn't get free training. So let's start there. Oh, let's start free. You want free? Free take a long time. And I give, I'm on here, I'm giving you some game. And I hope you can decipher or decode what I'm saying. If you're looking for free, I don't mind. I don't care if you get free knowledge from me and it works for you. I really don't care because there's 3,200 counties. Trust me, we won't bump into each other while we're investing. There's 1.9 billion acres that's available. So trust me, me giving away the game or giving it to you for free, if you can decode it and figure it out, it doesn't affect us at all. So we've been looking to sort out the ones that understand that in order to get to where you're trying to get to and use this vehicle, the way to cut the line is going to start with finances. Now, once you're on the inside, right? Second part to that is just keep driving. Don't stop. It works. It works. I had a young lady that was in our community, and she was just very, very stubborn, I guess. She was one of those people that she just had a bad attitude. She wanted it to work so fast, and this is investing. I can't tell you when it's going to work for you. It may work for you in 3 months. It may take you, 6 months. It may take you 8 months. Everybody is different. I don't know your learning curve. I don't know how much time, energy, and effort you're putting into your craft. So I never give dates on how fast you can turn over profit. That is on you. The information is the same. How did one person make $100,000 in 1 month and one person make $0 with the same information? How's that possible? How did one person make $50,000 for the month and the person next to him took the same program and the same information and made $0? It says to me that the person that made $0 didn't implement. The same stuff that's working for me to this day, it works. Why it's not working for the person that? You get where I'm going with that. So you're going to need some finances. You're going to need some fortitude. And this is, one thing that we've learned since doing this is that this is just the asset class and the vehicle that we're talking about, the land business. But business speaks the same language. You take these same principles and you apply it to stock investing, crypto investing, t-shirt business, music, whatever business that you apply these same principles with, it all works. Be consistent, be disciplined. Who are you listening to? How much energy and how much time are you giving to your craft? It works. First, identify an arena that has proven to work. So this investor that I was speaking of, she was just so hard-headed. And I personally held her hand. I personally did personal phone calls with her to get her going, right? She was one of those that me and Jay said, maybe we should consider giving her money back, because she's the type that, she'll go back and badmouth you on social media. And that's a bad place to be badmouth when you've done nothing but right? So we worked with her. I really wanted it to work for her. Put her in position for her to win. And she checked out of our community. I'm done with it. I'm going back to work. My dreams of being a land investor, it's over. I'm done. I don't want to do this no more. This doesn't work how you said it was going to work. Make a long story short, she contacted me back like 4 months later. I told her an area to invest in. And 4 months later, she got a hit on some properties that she bought, and she 5x'd her money. Oh, now she's praising it. Oh my God, Ray, it worked. I 5x'd the money that I put out. She never came back. I didn't want her back, to be honest. But my point is, most of us, we check out too soon. Like, do you think, like, if we did, I'm just throwing numbers, if we did 200 deals, do you think every 200 deal was sweet as heck? No. With anything you invest in 200 times, it's going to be some that's better than others. It's going to be some highs. It's going to be some mids. It's going to be some lows. That's investing. Our culture, we want to give $10, and that $10 better get turned into $2,000. But if we put you in a position to take your 10 and turn it into 20, is that not a win? If you give me 20 and I turn it into 40, is that not a win? And we're by far exceeding those simple examples that I'm giving. But we drive a really, really hard bargain. Yeah, no. Am I lying? Yeah, no, I ain't lying about this. Comment the word 100K. Come kick it with us on Thursday. This Thursday, 7 p.m. I'm gonna get off this call because we could talk forever about this stuff. This is kind of stuff we talk about on a daily basis. Earlier, when we did have a meet with another one of our good brothers and friends, this was something that we was talking about. He has this dope event space, and he said, I put this space together so people that look like us can see that these things exist. And I want to have a place that we can talk about wealth strategies and finances on more of a regular basis and stuff like that. Like if you ain't talking about money on a regular basis, it has a language, it has a frequency. Don't expect it to come to you. You're not on a frequency of money. We have to have conversations about money. I don't know why in this culture, they have tricked you to believe that there's something wrong with talking about money and wanting to have money. There's nothing wrong with it. You're utilizing it on a daily basis. Only time that you may not be using it is if you shut in and decide not to go out anywhere. But if you're moving around in America, 9 times out of 10, you're spending something. $10, $5, $8. So why we don't have conversations about finances? In particular, how to save it and how to keep it and how to grow it. I'm going to assume that everybody on the call has figured out to some degree on how to earn it. You have a job, so you figured out to some degree on how to earn it. How do you keep it? How do you grow it? They ain't gonna teach it to you. So you might as well get around an environment to where this is important. It's highly important to me. I lived 3/4 of my life, maybe longer than that, to being ignorant of the ways of money. They never volunteered to teach it to us. So then you wonder why, when you haven't been taught something or around something, how do we get in this predicament? Because you want something that you're not on the frequency of. All right, I'm gonna cut out. It's been good. This actually, she said, close the 3K assignment and blew it all. Don't blow it. Don't blow the money. Don't blow the money. I'm gonna leave off of this. She said they blew the money. I'm gonna leave on this note. Last but not least, one thing that we can't do is blow the money. You have to be very, very disciplined. And as of recently, in my later years, I started being disciplined, more disciplined with money. And clearly, to this day, I could be better with money. We all can, right? But some of the success that the Acre Boys went on to have is because when we were doing tax deed investing earlier, for the first time in our lives, we were smart enough not to touch the profits, meaning that we were working on 9-to-5 jobs, and our 9-to-5 jobs was funding everything, and anything that was a profit, we put to the side for 2 years. So when it was time for us to do bigger deals, compound finances is a real thing. Most of us are, for whatever reason, we just don't understand that. Compound finances will alleviate a lot of stress out of your life. And that starts with some of the lowest denominations. Try it. Trust me, it works. I do it to this day. If you could afford $5 a day, if you could afford $10 a day, if you could afford $20 a day, if you could afford $40 a day, try not touching it for 1 year. I promise you, you will be pleased at the end of 365 days. It will help you with something, whether that's a bill, vacation, fixing the house, getting a car, whatever it is. Promise you that. That's something that I have lived. Compound finances. So all we're saying is be smart with your money, learn how to find a deal or two. Even today, we're talking about small denominations and tax deeds. So if we could put you in position to put out a little bit of upfront money and 3 to 4x, potentially 5x that money, right? That'll go into your bank account. You take the money that you put back, that you put out, then you go and get more. Don't touch the money. So we're saying, just telling you things that we've done. I'm not a financial genius, any of that. I'm just speaking from experience. That's it. I'm just telling you what I've seen and what has worked for me and what I have done. That's it. Comment the word 100K. We'll see you on Thursday. Before I cut out of here, I need to see if I can find a link for my YouTube family. Facebook, you can comment 100K. I need a link. I need a 100K link. Where would that link be? Facebook comment 100K, Instagram comment 100K, and YouTube, just DM me and ask for the link. I can't find a link. All right, I got to cut out. Peace, y'all. Love.